Welcome back to the Beat the Host Challenge. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to the Lazy Llama. I found them in my travels on Friday afternoon. You want something different than a cheeseburger or a pizza? Check them out. It's a little coffee shop called the Lazy Llama off Highway 81 in McDonough, Georgia, serving crepes and other fine food. Check them out.
Yeah.
All right, Tater. Roll it.
Tater, you ready to rock and roll?
Let's roll it.
Week 14, college football championship weekend. What a doozy. Started off with a bang on Friday night with UTSA and Utah winning their matchups, respectively. Utah upsetting USC. And for the second year in a row, they beat the same team in the regular season and beat them again in the championship game. No one is talking about that.
What is the irony of that, though? But still, Utah came in there and put a ass whooping on USC.
Yeah, it was the final score wasn't that close, but the game wasn't even really that close, if that makes sense. Similar to the Michigan-Ohio State game last week.
Yeah.
Cam Rising, the quarterback out there, he's a baller. I don't know if he'll go to the NFL or anything like that, but the dude's he's a baller.
He was out. He's a baller. He was out for the first game, and they still won that one, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. I have to go back and look.
All right.
Yeah, they had some gutsy wins, and like we told Tyler yesterday, since Florida beat Utah by the transitive property of college football, Florida is Pac-12 champions.
There you go. Get in where you can get it.
Somebody did say that the middle of the SEC would run the table in the Pac-12, and I don't think they were lying.
Hey, they might be right now. It's kind of iffy. I think Utah's got the best defense.
Yeah. UTSA wins over North Texas Mean Green in the Conference USA Championship. One note about this is the coach for UTSA. I'd be on the lookout for him to be mentioned in some head coaching jobs. He's done a heck of a job out there at a school that is tough to win at.
Well, you predicted in the other
Auburn.
one already. Yeah. No, excuse me.
Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn. Yeah.
I was just going to say, you mean Alabama new head coach?
Yeah, and that, and that just goes to show, I know we already talked about it, but Auburn, they're just showing their cards, really, because, I don't know Hugh Freeze personally, obviously, but knowing his past, and everybody gets second chances, blah, 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 blah. They just want to win football games. They're willing to sell their soul to do it. Same thing they did with Bruce Pearl in the basketball program, if you ever care to look into that.
Well, once again, that's the money.
Yeah,
bringing
money
in
drives
money,
everything.
they really don't care. He's bringing in money, so
to get the money, you got to win football games. You got to win basketball games.
Yep.
And I was mad at myself. I changed this pick at the last minute, the Big 12 championship game. I changed this the night before. I had Kansas State, and I kept thinking about it. Man, TCU, they're going to pull this off. They're going to pull it off. Damn if they don't lose in overtime to Kansas State.
Yeah, I think the coaches are to blame for that one. They should have took the 3 points and went to double overtime. Not the guaranteed double overtime would have occurred, but I would have took the 3 points.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. Really, I kind of felt this way going into the game. That if TCU lost, as long as USC lost, if TCU lost, they'd be okay. I think they have a stronger resume than USC.
Agreed.
And that came out today. We'll talk about that later.
Clemson and North Carolina. North Carolina kind of petered out towards the end of the season here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if they had injuries or what's going on there, but they hadn't been able to do much the last 4 or 5 weeks. They've been struggling big time. Clemson put the freshman All-American in the game, Kate Klubnik. He's going to be really good. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence-esque.
Think so?
Yeah, he's not the second coming or anything, but he looked pretty sharp for a true freshman playing in a championship game, getting his, I think, second meaningful snaps of the season, not in like mop-up duty or anything. So that was that game. Not close at all. Big Ten championship. Michigan over Purdue. This game was a lot closer in the first half, but I think that's kind of been how Michigan's been. They're not a first half team. They
wear you
they're
down.
good. Yeah, they're good enough to keep it close. They wear you down with the run game, and then in the second half, they just lean on you, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Let's see. MAC championship, little MACtion. Ohio beats Toledo there. Miami, or no, not Miami, Ohio, but Ohio. Troy over Coastal. Coastal Carolina's coach today, I believe, took the head coaching job at Liberty, replacing Hugh Freeze. I think that's who that was.
Yeah,
Seems like
prime time went to
move.
Ohio, I believe. No, Colorado.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's friends with the AD out there or something. He knows the AD out there, because I thought for sure he was going to go to University of South Florida. I figured that would be like a perfect match. But if you get an opportunity to go listen to his speech that he made to the Colorado football team, like his first time meeting them, it was interesting, to say the least.
All right. Check it out.
Mountain West, Boise let me down. Fresno State wins that 28-16. And the American, Tulane gets some revenge, I believe. I believe they lost to UCF in the regular season.
They did.
So they get some revenge, win their first conference championship since the last time they won the SEC.
Yep, I believe they lost by 1 point mid-season to them.
Back in the day, I think it was 1939.
They lost by 7.
Couple minutes ago.
Yeah, a couple minutes ago. It's been a while. And then the best for last SEC championship. This game was never close. Georgia rolls over LSU 50-30.
So, one friend of mine, he posted something today about because we haven't been saying much about. Not a lot of people have been saying a lot about Georgia's quarterback. The hell's his name?
Stetson.
Yeah, but he's like, he posted something on his Facebook today about, hey, how about that walk-on that's been whooping everybody's ass for the last fucking 2 years? I was like, yeah, well, he's got a point. He thinks he should have the Heisman.
He's 30 years old, man.
25, I think.
He's been there for 12 and a half years, for crying out loud.
Playing against 18 and 19-year-olds. I saw somebody make that argument.
How old is he?
25.
Okay. So he's what, a 6-year senior?
7.
Yeah. So what is your take on it? Just because he's older, or you're not taking?
No. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Okay. I don't know. I have no reference, so I'm just.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing with the Heisman. Right, the Heisman goes to the most outstanding player in
all of college football.
Who
no matter position, no matter what.
Right, it's not supposed to matter. Right, the one guy that your team cannot do without. If he wasn't on the team, you would lose every game, kind of thing. That's the way I envision the Heisman being, and it hasn't been that, for a while. No, I'll be honest with you. If Stetson went down midway through the season with an injury, Georgia would have been just fine. They still would have won every game.
Think so? They're that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some guys on the bench that look very promising.
When was the last time a defensive player won a Heisman, or is it only for offensive players?
No, it's defensive players can win it too. I want to say
defensive end. I can't remember what team it was.
I think it was Rod Woodson, 97.
So it's been a long time. Woodson played for what? San Francisco? Didn't he go to San Francisco?
Oakland, wasn't
he? He went to Oakland?
No, Woodson.
Am I wrong?
I thought he played for San Francisco, but
he played for Oakland for a little bit. I want to say he played for Green Bay.
I don't know. I don't have.
Oh yeah, I think you are correct. I didn't get
Charles Woodson. I'm sorry, I said Ron Woodson. Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson would be the last defensive player to win it.
And what position was he?
He was a cornerback.
He was a good one too. Most of them are quarterbacks or running backs. Desmond Howard in 91 was a wide receiver.
Yeah. Devontae Smith won in 2020. He was a wide receiver. It's usually someone on the offense, typically a quarterback or a running back.
And poor nose tackles don't get any respect, do they?
No, man. They really don't.
They get beat up the whole fucking game.
They were talking about that guy on Alabama's team last year, Will Anderson. He was still on the team this year, but noticed that nobody talked about him. Alabama's defense wasn't quite as good this year. But last year, I felt like the guy should have won it.
And they got a better defense than Ohio State.
Yeah. He did play on Green Bay. He went to Oakland, and then he played on Green Bay in the latter part of his career. He's got 2 Super Bowls.
So what do you think of the Ohio State sneaking in 4th position?
Like we talked about earlier, man. I think we're just, at this point, we're arguing semantics. You put Alabama in, is it really going to change? I don't think so.
I don't think it is. I think it's going to end up being Georgia and Michigan.
Yeah, I feel the same way too. But to another point, you can't put them as a 3 seed over TCU. So
when does the decision get made?
It's made.
It's already been made.
So what's it?
So all right. So for those who don't know, the playoff selection show was today. Number 1, Georgia. 2, Michigan. 3, TCU. 4, Ohio State. So the top 4 play in the playoff. 5, Alabama. 6, Tennessee.
Okay.
So you'll have Georgia and Ohio State at the Chick-fil-A Bowl playoff game. Then Michigan and TCU will be at the Festa Bowl.
Yeah.
In Glendale.
So it could be a Georgia TCU national championship, possibly.
Could be if they beat Michigan. TCU's playing, yeah.
That's a pretty good shot, though. They got a pretty good shot, I think.
Anything's possible. There were a lot of guys or a lot of these media types that said Kentucky was going to beat Georgia this year. And Will Levis is a number 1 draft pick. So
I'm guessing that's not going to happen.
Possible.
Yeah, Kentucky kind of just, I'm not sure what happened to them this year.
What are the chances of Ohio State beating Georgia?
Well, they got 5 weeks to get ready for it.
Now, don't get it twisted. Ohio State's got some dudes.
That's what I'm saying.
Their defense is not anywhere near Georgia's caliber. So if they win, they're going to have to win in a boat race.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because at this point, transfer portal, you can't bring no one in to help it, right?
No. If they transferred in now, they wouldn't be eligible until the spring.
Yeah, I'm not very versed in those new rules. I need to get up to speed.
Transfer portal's a weird thing. It officially opens for 45 days tomorrow. So it's going to be crazy.
That's how Riley built the team he's got out in USC.
Yeah.
He got a hell of an offense going, but he keeps forgetting defense. That's the same problem he had in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, that's how Brian Kelly at LSU was able to have success this year. You know, when he took the job, he only had 39 scholarship players, and the allotment's 85 for the roster.
Wow!
So he had to bring in a lot of people.
Talent.
Yeah, a lot of talent. He did a good job. I mean, I credit to the guy. He's a good coach. Knows what he's doing.
What do you think of when we blow the playoffs out? Is it the following year? Not the coming up, but the following year, 2 years, 24.
Yeah.
Nick Saban made a good point today in his interview that it's really going to take away from the bowl games the importance of some of the granddaddy of them all bowl games. We're going to go into this format, and then we're going to lose some of the prestige of the bowl games.
Yeah, I don't know. I know the big sticking point was the Rose Bowl was holding things up. Because they've been wanting to go to 12 teams for like over a year now.
Yeah, someone mentioned the Rose Bowl is out of the mix altogether. Is that true, or am I misunderstanding something?
I'm not sure. I haven't read into it that much yet. I just know that they were holding up progress. I don't know if they accepted their fate or what. But again, I think this is all leading towards a 2014 playoff. They're not going to reduce the in-season games, and they're not going to take away championship games from the conferences. 4 or 5 years from now, you're going to have 4 conferences of 16 to 20 teams each, and it's going to look a lot like the NFL.
And is that a bad or a good thing?
I mean, I'll still watch.
A different thing.
It's just going to be different. People don't like change.
Well, is this going to hurt a lot of these smaller colleges getting stuck in a bigger conference?
Potentially.
Or is it going to help them because they're going to be able to play teams that are bringing in money? You know what I mean?
Look at it right now. Alabama would be in, Tennessee would be in, Clemson, Utah, Kansas State, USC, Penn State, and Washington would all be in the playoff. So the top 4 would get a bye.
And 5 through 12 play each other.
Yeah. And the higher seed in the ladder would have a home game for the quarterfinal.
I'm not even talking about playoffs. I'm just talking about regular season. If it goes to, like Lyle's saying, you're just going to get rid of, there's only going to be 4 conferences total. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I think. I think
that's what it's going to.
Yeah, 4 super conferences. You'll take, each conference will have, their biggest draws because it's all about money. It has nothing to do with football. It's about money.
Agreed.
You're like 10 years, 20 years from now, they all get condensed.
He said 5.
No, this is within the next 5 years. You watch. Texas and Oklahoma opened up they opened the door when they asked to join the SEC. The SEC did not seek out Texas and Oklahoma. So they opened the door to this. So the SEC is going to 16 teams. I think they're going to join by the same year we go to 12 games, 12 playoff teams. They're going to be in the conference 2 years. I would look for either the Big 12.
So the Big 12 is going to be down to 8.
I have a feeling the Big 12 may absorb the Pac-12, some of the bigger teams, or vice versa. And you're going to see the smaller brands stuck out.
Just go away.
Yeah.
So you're saying the Big 12 is going to absorb who?
Pac-12.
Pac-12.
USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington. Those are all the TV markets on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Cal, Berkeley. Maybe.
But potentially whoever wants to be, they're probably just going to open it up, is what you're saying. Yeah. And look, this is the way we're going. We're going to have 4 big conferences, and then
essentially the Big 12 could take 8 teams right now and become just the Western. You could reinvent the Western Athletic Conference.
How many?
Colorado, USC, UCLA, Oregon State, Washington State.
How many conferences we have now?
You have 5 Power 5 conferences, 5 Group of 5 conferences, which are the smaller ones, smaller money schools. I've said this, and other people have said this, that the Group of 5, the smaller schools, need to break away and make their own subdivision, similar to the FCS, but like a tier up.
Just have them all in the same league, basically, or same conference.
Well, you put yourself in a position where you can win a championship.
Yeah. That's what the FCS is. So you have the FBS, which is all like the Power 5 and Group of 5 schools. And you have the FCS, which is just your North Dakota State, your South Dakota State, schools like that. And they have their own 2014 playoff. At the end of the year, they play 10 conference games. There's no conference championships, and then they go straight into their playoff.
Well, at least they don't do warm-up games.
I think you could see those conferences without divisions either. There won't be any more East-West. I think SEC is seriously looking at that. Big Ten's going away from conferences. ACC won't have divisions next year. Big 12 already doesn't. Pac-12 doesn't. Big Ten, I think, is going to go away from it. The SEC is probably going to go away from it too. A lot of stuff coming down the pipe. A lot of changes. College football is going to look very different in 5 years.
Sounds like it.
Thank you for your patronage. Please share the podcast or tell a friend about it. You're listening to the program to help us support first responders and veterans alike. Stop by and check us out on Facebook. For those who would like to donate or subscribe to the program, you can do so at redcircle.com/Cohesion.